ॐ नमो भगवते विराजेश्वराय. In this 11th day reading of Sri Viveka Chudamani, we cover about 4 or 5 topics dealing with the internal instrument, life forces, until the ahankara, means the ego. So the first topic we cover is Antakarana Chatushtayam, which means inner instrument or inner instruments, we can say. There are 4. Nigadyate Antakaranam Mano Thiraham Krutis Chittamiti Sovruttibihi Manastu Sankalpa Vikalpanadibhihi Buddhihi Padarthadhyavasaya Dharmataha Atrabhimanadahamityahankrutihi Swardhanusandhana Gunena Chittam. So Antahkaranam, the internal instrument, Swavruttibhihi, by the functions of its own nature, by different functions, Manaha, Dhi, Ahankrutihi, Chittam, mind, intellect, Ahankara, ego, and Chittam, memory. These 4 names Nigadyate. Sankalpa Vikalpanadhibhihi. So one is deciding, non-deciding. The wavering or processing thing is called mind, Sankalpa and Vikalpa, which says it could be this, no, it could not be this, or it may be this, it may not be this. This is called Manas. Padartha Chyavasaya Dharmataha Buddhi. So what decides and what confirms something as something is called Buddhi. By analyzing the dharmas and coming to a conclusion is called Buddhi. Atra is Sariradi, in these bodies and stuff like that. Abhimanat, by giving that identity to it. Ahankruti is called ego, which gives identity to these different faculties. That is called Ahankruti. Swardhanusandhana Gunena. So, by getting attachment to or recording and remembering the own Vishaya Anusandhana. So, recollecting, remembering, storing, this kind of functions, it is called Chittam or the memory. So, put together these 4 names are given to the one internal instrument only. After understanding the internal instrument, we look at the Pancha Pranas, or the 5 different vital forces. Again, it is one vital force, one Kriya Shakti, Rajoguna Swabhava. Satvaguna Swabhava is of internal instrument, and Rajoguna Swabhava is coming from pranas. Prana apana vyana udana samana bhavatyasauhu pranaha swayameva vrittibedhat vikruter bhedat suvarna salilameva. So he's giving as an example as gold, suvarna and salilam. So gold appears like multiple things as rings, bangles, necklaces, and etc. etc. And similarly, water looks like the flowing water, like a river, like ocean, like a tank, in whatever shape it looks it as. Asau, this prana, swayameva vrittibedhat, by the differential functions, vikrutehe bedhat, by its result, what it is achieving, it is achievement differences. Suvarna salilamiva, like gold and water. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. It is known as prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. There are different functions of all these 5 vital forces. One is inhaling air, one is exhaling air, other one is distributing everything across the body, and there is something which is pulling up all the nadis, all these things, and the one it is digesting all the food, etc. So like this kind of different functionalities, metabolism and stuff like that, based on those different activities which are happening in the body, these five different functions are known as a single prana is known by its five different functions as five different names. So now we are Sankara comes to a place where he describes what is Sukshma Sarira. So we have discussed about the gross body earlier. Now we are coming to the Linga Sarira or Sukshma Sarira or subtle body. वागादि पंच श्रवणादि पंच प्राणादि पंच भ्रमुखानि पंच बुद्ध्यात्य विद्यापि च काम कर्मणि पुर्यष्टकं सूक्ष्म शरीरमाहुः. So the teacher is now giving a very important combination called Puryashtakam, 8 Puris, 8 cities, which make up the subtle body. Vagadi Pancha, so 5 starting from Vak, which are the action organs. Shravanadi Pancha, the 5 sense organs. Pranadi Pancha, the 5 vital airs. Abhramukhadi Pancha, so the 5 elements starting from the space to earth. Buddhyadhi, Buddhi, Antakarana Chatushtayam, the 4 internal instrument parts. Avidya, the ignorance, initial cause. Kama, the desires, and Karma, the actions. Put together, these 8 are called Puryashtakam. 8 groups of things, 8 different groups of things, 8 cities. Puri means group, Gana or Ashtakam. There are 8 such things. Make up the Sukshma Sariram Ahuhu. This is known as the Sukshma Sarira. So idam Sariram Srunu Sukshma Sangitam Lingatva Apanchi Kruta Bhuta Sambhavam Savasanam Karma Phalanubhavakam Swajnanato Anadi Rupadhi Atmanaha Anadi Upadhi Atmanaha. Shrunu, listen carefully. Apanchikruta Bhuta Sambhavam Lingam tu Savasanam, which is having latent impressions, vasanas, karma phalanubhavakam, which is making karma phalas coming into experience. Anubhavakam, karma phala anubhavakam. Sukshma sangitam, which is sukshma, subtle, non-gross. Sukshma sangitam. Idam sariram, this sukshma sarira, linga sarira. Atmanaha swajnanataha, not knowing, ignoring its true nature. Anadi upadhihi, beginningless upadhi, reason or the alambana. So on which the sarira is depends on all these things is sukshma sarira. This is anadi for the atma. Swajnanataha, swa ajnanataha idam sariram comes up. So this is really a very important sloka, and it goes on with multiple question and answers in the description of this work. So the so kama karmas are only avidya. So why avidya is different from kama karmas is one of the question. But avidya, adhyasa, kama karma, all these things are, so in each distinction Sankara keeps on explaining here, saying that these are just by the functions we are naming them differently, but originally the whole thing is actually avidya only. So this adhyasa is changing. See, based on the function, based on the reflection of it, based on the function and result it is achieving, a name is given for the sake of understanding it. So that is one thing which we need to understand. So we in the earlier we actually looked at when the gross body is linked to the Jagrat, means waking up state of state of existence. We so gross body and waking up state are linked. Similarly, what is that this Sukshma Sarira's predominance is seen in which state? In the Swapna. So we are getting into that. Swapno bhavatyasya vibhakyavasta swamatra seshena vibhati yatraha swapne tu buddhi swayameva jagrat kalina nana vidhavasanaभिः कर्त्राधिभावं प्रतिपद्य राजते यत्र स्वयं ज्योतिरयं परात्मा. So this is explaining the relationship between the swapna, dreaming state of the existence, with the sukshma sarira. Swapnaha asya sukshma sariraha of the sukshma sarira avastha bhavati. Yatra swamatra seshena vibhati. It will alone shows up buddhi, then Jagratkalina Nana Vidhavasana, which brings up those experiences which have happened during the waking up period and cooks up its own story. Swayameva Kartradhibhavam, so it builds up or imagines, brings the stuff. Swayameva Kartradhibhavam Pratipadya, so putting its own thinking, own imagination as the doer and enjoyer. Kartradhibhavam, kartra bhoktra both adhibhavam pratipadya rajate, so alone shines forth. Yatrayam paratma swayam jyotihi, there is no external light, it only takes its own light, its own projection, its own screen, its own enjoyment, its own actors, its own direction. Everything comes on its own and it shows up. The Paranjyotihi of the eternal light of self is projected into all these things on its own into the Swapna. So when we look at this kind of a description, how come this antakarana, which is not conscious on its own, is able to do this all these actions? Yatra swayam jyotihi. So that is the answer for this. Yatra swayam jyotihi, own effulgence, own jyoti is there, own of the Atma is there. So even though antakarana is just like a crystal, is projecting all these things into different colors, different functions, different actions, etc. in the swapna, but the light is there of the Atma. So Sukshma Sariram, so this Atma Jyotishu of the light of self and the projection of Sukshma Sarira as the dream Swapna Prapancha, we look at the next sloka. Dhimatra kopadhirasesha sakshi nalipyate tatkruta karmalepaihi yasmada sangas tatayeva karmabhihi nalipyate kinchutupadhina krutaihi. So Asesha Sakshi, the witness of everything. Asesha Sakshi, not leaving anything, everything is witnessed. Asesha Sakshi, Dhimatra Kopathihi. Only intellect, Dhi Matraka Upathihi. Only using the intellect as Upadhi. Tat Kruta Karma Nalipyate. So whatever is projected in the projected by the thi and tatkruta karmache nalipyate, not being touched or not being polluted or not being touched by such karma are the results. Whatever is being projected in the swapna nalipyate. Yasmat asangaha. Why? Because this pure light of Atma is not attached to any of these karmas which are being done. Asangaha tatayeva. upadhina krutaihi karmabhihi na lipyate. So, by the instruments, something is being performed, and those actions are not touching the actual source of light. Source of light is not polluted, not getting diminishing, or not being subjected to transformation. All that transformations, all those pollution, all these things are happening only at the projection layer, not in the source layer. That is the key thing we need to understand here. Sarvavyaprutikkaranam sarvavyaprutikkaranam lingamidam swachchidatmanah pumsaha vyasadikamiva takshaha tenaivatma bhavatyasangoyam vasyadikam takshaha. So here there is an example is being given about a carpenter who is using his instruments to create different furniture. For a takshaha, vasyadikam, the different instruments he can chip it off, and he can cut the different pieces of wood and join them. This linga sariraha chidatmanaha pumsaha sarvavyavritikaranam. So this linga sarira, that this sukshma sarira with his puryastakam, is just like the instruments which are given to the atma. So syat tenaiva ayamatma asangaha bhavati. So all the actions are being performed by these instruments, are the capabilities of the instruments only, are they relate to the instrument only. Each instrument can perform one kind of thing. It can cut, it can chip off, it can join different things, what these instruments can do. Like that, these instruments only performing the vyapara, all these actions. Another example is being given. Why asanga? Why it is not attached? Why it is not related? Why the Atma is completely distinct from all these things? So this is the fact is being established here repeatedly. So now Shankara takes another example. Andhatvam andhatva patutva dharma saugunya vaigunya vasyadhi chakshushaha badhiratva mokatva बाधिर्य मोकत्व मुखास्ततैव श्रोत्रादिधर्मा न तु वेत्तुरात्मनः. So any defect of these instruments, like eye's defect is called andhat, blindness. So sagunya vaigunya, if a eye is very sharp, it can see all the small things, everything. If eye is not sharp, eye is having a defect, it can't see stuff, or it can't see anything. Andhatvam, mandatvam, patutva dharma. So these different dharmas are it is its capability, its non-capability. All these things belong to that I only. Tadhaiva, in the same way. Badhirya mukhatva. So the deafness or not able to speak, mukhatvam. Srotradi dharmaha vyuttuhu. So to understand all these defects belongs to any defect belong to a particular organ, it belongs to that organ, not to the Atma. So again, in this thing we are how to distinguish, what is temporary, what is a sariram, what is a upadhi, and what is the eternal source, what is the light, original light, and stuff like that. What is Atma, what is Anatma. So this whole thing is called Viveka Chudamani. This work is called Viveka Chudamani only because it gives the Viveka of what is eternal, what is non-eternal, what is Atma, what is Anatma. Now it comes to the internal dharmas of the body, prana dharmamulu. So we are talking about the functions of the prana. Uchvasa, nichvasa, vijrumbhana, kshut, प्रस्पन्दनाद्युत्क्रमणादिकाः क्रियाः प्राणादिकर्माणि वदन्ति तज्ज्ञाः प्राणस्य धर्मावसनापिपासे. So uchvasa, breathing in, breathing out, nichvasa, vijrumbhana, kshut, praspandanaha, movement, adi, beginning from all these things, utkramanadika, getting up, kriyaha tadgnyaha pranadi karmani vadanti. Asana pipase, hunger and thirst, all these things also pranasya dharmo. So of this vital force, the dharmas are all these things, all the actions basically, whatever actions which are happening within the body, right from hunger, thirst to movement, spandana, whatever is seen as the chetana, this as the life, that is of the life force. Then comes the most important antakarana item, al ahankara. So I think with this ahankara, this is the most dangerous aspect. So antakarana meteshu chakshuradhishu varshmanihi ahamityabhimanena tishtatyabhasa tejasa. So this is where the abhasa starts happening. So while prana is performing its activities, chitta is performing its own activities, the mind is doing its own activity, body is doing its own activity, but somebody is assuming I am the doer. So antahkarana meteshu chakshuradishu varshmanihi ahamityabhimanena tishtatyabhasa tejasa. So abhasa teja. So it is a reflected light. Reflected light. Original light source is the Atma, but this Ahankara is saying, I am doing, I am responsible for this, I am that. Antahkarana eteshu chakshuradishu varshmanihi abhasa tejasa ahamiti abhimanena tishtati. It gets established in this false notion of I am the doer, I am responsible for this, I am doing this. So this is the thing. Ahankaraha savigneyaha karta bhokta bhimanyayam satvadi gunayogena vasthatritaya masnute saha. So this ahankara, this ego, karta vigneyaha, is known to be the actor. I am bhokta is only the consumer of these results as well. Ahankarta bhokta. Abhimani, it is only the identifier. Abhimani, identifying. Satvadi yoga gunena avasthatritayaha asnute. When it is balanced, it is called sattva guna. Then when it is active and going creative, then it is called rajo guna. Same ahankara. And the same thing when it is in the tamo guna, it is misunderstanding and doing all that darkness, quality of ashnute. So then all these avastatrayas, all these different avastas like waking, dreaming, deep sleep, these are all things are assumed or abhasa, they are assumed to be its own, thereby it is giving an identity to these things and giving a differentiation between everything as well. So which is giving identity is differentiating everything from everything else. So all these things are done by something called ahankara, ego. Vishayanam anukulye sukhi dukhi viparyaye sukham dukkhancha tad dharmaha sadanandasya natmanaha. So in this sloka, actually we will conclude with this sloka for today. So Vishayanam anukulye, when you get into the combination of different Vishayas, different materialistic things, Vishaya is material, when connected with Anukula, what is suitable, what is agreeable to this ahankara, if you get touched by such an agreeable Vishaya, it is called Sukha, Sukhi. Dukhi viparyaye, opposite of it is called Dukhi. When you get in touch with some materialistic item and it is not in favor, ananukula, it is not favorable, not agreeable to this ahankara, it becomes dukhi. Veshayanam anukulye sukhi, dukhi viparyaye. Sukham dukkhancha tadharma. Sukham and dukkham, pleasure and pain, are the dharmas, are the attributes of this ahankara. Tadharmaha sadanandasya natmanaha. But the atma, the soul, the self, the true identity, the reality is always blissful. Sada anandasya. So we can't say the soul is getting pleasure, soul is getting the pain. Soul is never getting the pain or the pleasure. Whoever is doing is ahankara. Whoever is assumed to be a doer is ahankara. Who is assumed to be a consumer or experiencer of these experiences is also ahankara. The experience is considered to be sukham and dukkham. So ananda is ever blissful, or the atma is ever blissful. So with this, we have come to something like 26th topic in the book, which is ego. So to conclude, actually, Swami Chinmayananda wrote a small English passage. I read out that it is not the self, the pure consciousness, which is functioning as I, aham, but it is its reflection, abhasa chaitanya, otherwise called the ego, which functions as I at all the moments of the waking and dreaming states of our expression. So with this understanding, we will close today's Viveka Chudamani reading. Very auspicious day of Moola Nakshatra in the Navaratris. Swasti.